Hello and welcome to History of the Day series of Triumph IAS.
Let's start from the important events happened on 27th February. World NGO Day. World NGO Day was born in London, the brainchild of Marcus Lias Cadmanes. It is an international calendar day held on 27th February every year to celebrate, commemorate and collaborate with the various NGOs around the world. Officially recognized and declared by the 12-member countries of the 9 Baltic Sea NGO Forum of the Council of the Baltic Sea States in 2010 and first time marked by the UN, EU leaders and international organizations in 2014. History of NGO Day. World NGO Day aims to inspire people to become more actively involved within NGOs, charities, NPOs, CSOs, and encourage a greater symbiosis between NGOs and both the public and private sector. The universal concept of the World NGO Day is celebrate, commemorate, and collaborate the various NGOs around the world and the people behind them. World NGO Day is a day for NGOs around the globe to share knowledge and experiences with one another. It aims to educate individuals worldwide on NGOs and their impact. The World NGO Day provides an opportunity to honor and remember NGO founders, employees, volunteers, members and supporters. Marathi Language Day. Marathi Language Day or Marathi Bhasha Divas is celebrated annually on 27th February to honor the birth anniversary of famous Marathi poet Vishnu Vaman Shirvadkar, who was popularly known as Kusumagraj. Vishnu Vaman Shirvadkar was an eminent Marathi poet, playwright, novelist, short story writer, apart from being a humanist, who wrote of freedom, justice and emancipation of the deprived. In a career spanning 5 decades starting in per-independence era, he wrote 16 volumes of poems, 3 novels, 8 volumes of short stories, 7 volumes of essays, 18 plays and 6 one-act plays. He was the recipient of several state awards and national awards including the 1974 Sahitya Akademi Award in Marathi for Natsamrit, Padma Bhushan and the Gyanpith Award in 1987. He also served as the president of the Akhil Bhartiya Marathi Sahitya Sammelan held at Margao in 1964. The day is celebrated to recognize and honor the greatness of Marathi literature. Marathi language contains some of the oldest literature of all modern Indo-Aryan languages, dating from about 900 AD. The government started celebrating Marathi Rajbhasha Gaurav Din after Kusumagraj's demise in 1999. 2 special awards for individuals taking initiatives to promote Marathi literature were also started. International Polar Bear Day. Every year on 27th February, International Polar Bear Day raises awareness for the issues that polar bears face. It's also a day to find ways to reduce our carbon footprint as a way to minimize the effects of global climate change. The International Union for Conservation of Nature has deemed the polar bear a vulnerable species. Sea ice loss due to climate change is the biggest threat to this animal's survival. They live in 19 different populations across the Arctic. About 60% of these populations are within or shared by Canada. Polar bears are also found in Alaska, Norway, Greenland, and Russia. Due to living in such remote locations, polar bears are difficult to study. It is known that the number of polar bears throughout the world is not increasing. If sea ice continues to disappear, some believe polar bears could become extinct between 2050 and 2100. The disappearance of seals could also affect the polar bear population. This is due to the fact that seals, which also depend upon the ice, are the main food source for polar bears. National Protein Day. In order to raise awareness on the importance of an essential nutrient like protein, every year 27th February is observed as Protein Day. Being the building blocks of our life that help repair body cells, protein is essential for the healthy growth and development of children, teens and also pregnant women. Protein has a range of functions to play in the proper functioning of our body. From increasing muscle mass and repairing muscle tissues, strengthening bones, and boosting metabolism, sufficient intake of protein ensures that we remain healthy from within. Hence, to familiarize people with these important functions of proteins and to rally towards the mission of protein awareness and sufficiency in India, Protein Day is celebrated. Globally, Protein Day is celebrated on 27th February every year. However, India recently started observing the day and celebrated it first in 2020. A national-level public health initiative called Right to Protein launched India's first Protein Day to sensitize and educate people on the benefits of consuming protein-rich food. Now let's move towards the death anniversaries of 27th February. Chandra Shekhar Azad. Chandra Shekhar Azad was the quintessential firebrand revolutionary who fiercely craved independence for his country. A contemporary of Bhagat Singh, Azad never quite received the same levels of adoration for his deeds, yet his actions were no less heroic. His lifelong goal was to create as much problem for the British government as he could. He was the master of disguises and evaded capture by the British police multiple times. His famous proclamation, "दुश्मनों की गोलियों का सामना हम करेंगे, आजाद ही रहे हैं, और आजाद ही रहेंगे," which translates into "I will face the bullets of the enemies, I have been free and I will forever be free," is exemplary of his brand of revolution. He embraced martyrdom like an old friend and inspired a fierce sense of nationalism in the hearts of his contemporaries. The first wave of nationalist sentiments was awakened by the non-cooperation movement declared by Gandhiji during 1920 to 1921. Chandra Shekhar rode this wave when he was a mere teen and participated in the various organized protests with much gusto. 16-year-old Chandra Shekhar was arrested in one of these demonstrations. When asked his name, residence and that of his father, he replied to the authorities that his name was Azad, his father's name Swatantrata and his residence as the prison cell. He was sentenced to receive 15 whiplashes as punishment. He bore those with ample nonchalance and came to be revered as Chandra Shekhar Azad from then on. The Jallianwala Bagh massacre took place in 1919 and the brutal deed of British oppression had reverberating effect on the Indian nationalist movement. The blatant disregard exhibited by the British towards basic human rights and unnecessary use of violence on a group of unarmed and peaceful people incited a burst of hatred from the Indians directed towards the British Raj. The nation was gripped by this anti-British euphoria, and Chandra Shekhar was part of a group of young revolutionaries who dedicated their lives towards a single goal: securing freedom for his beloved motherland by driving the British away from India. Bahadur Shah, Mughal Emperor of India from 1707 to 1712, was born in Berhampur and reigned from 1707 to 1712. Bahadur Shah, also known as Muhammad Muazzam and Shah Alam, was the 8th Mughal Emperor in India, ruled from 1707 until his death in 1712. In his youth, he conspired to overthrow his father Aurangzeb, the 6th Mughal Emperor, and ascend to the throne. Shah's plans were intercepted by the emperor, who imprisoned him several times. From 1696 to 1707, he was governor of Akbarabad, Kabul and Lahore. Bahadur Shah was also Aurangzeb's third son.